Hello and welcome to my today's broadcast. I thought I want to catch up with a friend of mine who is based in Indonesia, Yasha Chatab, and we have known each other for a few years. And I'm broadcasting from Helsinki, and he's in Jakarta at the moment. So let me bring in Yasha here, and we'll have a chat about what's happening over there at his part of the world.
Hi, Sam-Erik, how are you?
Good, good. I think that just as a starters, how we know each other. We met in Malta in 2016, and you're from Indonesia, and in fact, I started my career internationally in hospitality in Jakarta, and then also in Bali and in Jogja. So I'm a little bit familiar with where you're from. But so that's what I immediately I felt so compelled that I have to contact you to see how things are with you, and how it's affecting the lives in people who are into tourism. So could you give a little bit of a update or your impressions and what you have seen happening so far?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, Sam-Erik. It's nice to catch up again after a while. I haven't been to Malta and see you in the past several Mediterranean tourism forums. Today is Tuesday, and this is the second working day after on Sunday. Last Sunday, our president finally made an announcement to get people to stay home. We are close. I guess we are very close to China in a sense. We have a lot of Chinese workers here in some construction. We do a lot of trading with China, and of course, there's a lot of tourists coming from China into Indonesia. So it's really affecting us in a lot of ways, from the economy, our stock market, and from tourism standpoint. I'm just going to give you an example of Bali. Currently, we have there's a lot of tourists coming in from Australia, although there's been a travel warning from the Australian government, especially the Western Australian government, for its citizens not to go to places such as Indonesia. But until in early March, there's still quite a good number. It's like I think there's in 2020 there's already 12,000 tourists coming from Australia by early March, and overall there's about 50,000 tourists still coming into Bali since the beginning of the year. But then again, the beginning of the year, a lot of people down here were already starting wearing masks, maybe by the third week of January.
Oh.
But I think there's more when the virus start to hit Italy. That's when I think there's the global panic, because it has gotten into a Western country, Yeah, so by today there's about 130, about 137 cases in Indonesia, positive coronavirus. But there's still we're still waiting for some of the good news on how to tackle it. But by the government, the president having done an announcement saying that we need to, people need to work from home when they can, and so hopefully we'll start hearing more positive news. So same policy with our company, with WIR. Employees are working from home. We're not allowed to have meetings outside. So now with technology, we just do things remotely. Using Skype and Zoom or whatever.
Yeah. That's exactly the same in Finland. For us, it started with the largest travel fair, ITB, was cancelled, and also the International Hotel Investment Forum was cancelled. It was a Friday when they made the cancellation, and we and the forum would have started on a Monday. So it was very, very quick action. But also all the appointments here, I mean, all the companies here have sort of there's no outside meetings. So it's the street scene is very quiet. The phones are going hot, and the video conferencing is going hot. So, but you are doing normally. You do some video conferencing anyway in your businesses,
Yeah.
so it's nothing unusual for you.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I've personally been doing a lot of local projects as well, with the government. But then at the moment, the government is just very occupied with how to handle not only handling the spread of the virus itself, but it's the way they handle the communications, and so that people who are not who don't have access to information, to the correct information, so they don't. Number one, they don't spread the virus, knowing or not knowingly, and two, to avoid any kind of panic buying and in supermarkets or in other places,
Yeah.
Mask, surgical mask or any kind of mask have been sold out since late January, so it's almost possible to get it. Oh, still, I go to the pharmacy, I go to the grocery store. People still come in and looking for masks, and there's none available. They always ask for the same thing. They ask for vitamins, they ask for hand sanitizers, all these things.
Yeah. I mean, also we have a headache like the Burana kind of medication has been. In some pharmacies has been sold out. People are just buying all these and stocking up. And one thing which I found very interesting now here in Finland, because many people have sort of summer cottages. So people are moving to their summer cottages because to be in solitude, they stock up on food and so on, and they spend the time there rather than being in the city. And they still can work if they are still working their working life. They are working distantly from there. So I think it's just that for people who are in the city, you tend to watch the news a lot, and everything you hear starts with the word corona, or the stock market or something like that. So it's a little bit bad news in the sense that you feel that you need something that is uplifting also. And many people found that buying in the nature and by their summer cottages is calming them down in many ways. What is your sort of way of now dealing, and your friends' way of dealing with this situation, putting work aside?
Well, I think it's good that a lot of people. Well, the what's happening in Jakarta is that the traffic. This is a city with more than 12 million people. And not counting the suburbs. So when the schools have been schools are out, basically children are staying at home, even college students are also staying at home, so at all levels schools are out, so nobody's going to school at the moment. Actually, my wife just started my wife is going to start teaching university supposedly next Monday. But because of the coronavirus, now she's gonna start her first, college teaching gig, remotely, which is very strange. But then she other people also have to deal with it, especially the non-millennial teachers, faculty members, people who are over 50. Then they really have, especially here. I mean, they're not used to conference calls and Skype calls and anything. So they really it's really not their game. Although not everybody's like you.
Well,
unfortunately, Sam-Erik.
By the way, we have Shanaz, who is in Cyprus. She sent a comment over here and saying that hello, Yasha, we are also home. Our islands closed down last Friday, she says. Well, Yasha, Shanaz, we hope all is well for you, and things will get over sooner than later, we hope.
Yes, let's hope so.
Yeah. But you've been active on But I was going to ask you, what is your wife's, what is she teaching at the university?
Oh, she's teaching performance studies, which actually has nothing to do with performance arts. Very little to do with performance arts. So, yeah.
So it's possible to do something digitally also, or is it?
Yeah. Well, it's a study of how people behave and act, and the rituals that they do, and rituals meaning from any kind of ritual, like the ritual of maybe eating or
going
to a function and things like that. So it's not only religious rituals,
right,
but just any kind of ritual. It's interesting. It's an arts studies in a sense.
Oh, that's interesting.
But yeah, the streets. The streets are definitely empty, but not so empty because again, it's a city of more than 12 million people. Traditionally, we have a odds and even license plate policy during rush hour, but that's not in place at the moment. But yeah, since that's the case, then everybody's on the a lot of people stay on the street, and so there's still a traffic jam in the morning and in the afternoon, but definitely not as bad as usual. Maybe like a quarter of how it is usually.
Okay, good. We have another friend here, Andrew Cornelio. He's based in Thailand, in Pattaya. So
hey, Andrew.
And so he's saying it's been very quiet here, but business has been hard hit. So it's also, I think, everywhere the same, which has been tourist and hospitality. Andrew Cornelio is in the hospitality. So yeah, well, wish you all the best, Andrew. Thanks very much for joining us today. And
all these hospitality businesses, all these functions canceled, all these dinners. We also run a venue called Disruptive Society in Plaza Indonesia in the middle of the city, and the mall operation hours is now from Monday to Friday is from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. on Monday to Friday. But I mean, in some places, these places are even shut down. So we're still at that level in which we're still trying to minimize the working hours. But but social distancing is we just have to bear the consequences. It's a sacrifice from everyone.
Yeah. But also this is I think it's in the way the new life, or if you will, that is affecting people of how to deal with this, and I think the thing is that it's important also that just staying home is not the way. You have to find a way to get out of your home every day, and just to kind of get some see something else than just the four walls and TV or mobile that you're to watch what's happening. Yeah. Well, interesting. Could you you've been involved with the indoor runners, and everyone who is into this, you should follow you on an Instagram account, because you are Mr. Yasha, who is having some great pictures from finishing marathons and so on.
Yeah, so Indoor Runners has more than 60 chapters all over Indonesia, and so we had a debate, So in a way, the presidential announcement kind of solved a lot of issues. A couple of weeks ago, we were still debating, whether we should we should continue exercising, but the problem is every time we have regular activities, like 3 or 4 times a week, in which a group gets together, and every time there's a gathering, more than 50 people show up and have a group run, so that's a risk. And so we start debating internally, because some people saying that, hey, we should keep on exercising, because the reason, one way to get through this is to stay healthy, and that's why you should do it. And then some people say that, well, I say that here's the thing: when you do exercise and when you overdo it, when you overtrain, then your immune system will go down, and you're just more prone to being sick.
Yeah.
And of course that it remained a debate that nobody won. So the presidential announcement was the key. Like, hey, right, president said so.
Okay.
No more gathering.
Yep.
No more events. We're going to off season, just like NBA, just like the NHL, just like the Italian league, and everybody.
Yeah, that's a smart choice for sure. Yeah. I got another question. Andrew is in Cornelio, who's in Pattaya. He said that Sam, can I ask you what are your views? What are your views when you think the situation will get better for the travel situation? Well, I think that's a $1 million, $1 trillion question, because we don't really know enough about this current pandemic, and as long as people feel worried and scared, travel is the first thing that will not be in their mind. There is the safety, and which is the most important thing. But for hotels, I think it's important that don't press the panic button in terms of use it smartly. Do whatever renovation you can do at the time when you don't have to postpone them. Also continue to train, and also the last thing to do is to dump the rates because it's always people will not perceive value by getting lower rates, because you end up getting less amenities, and it's also the expenses from marketing is all eating up from the lower rates. So it's more expensive to lower rates than to keep the rates, but bundle up, you give some value added, because when the situation is over, which will be eventually, then you're not in a situation where you have to try to get your rates up again. If you keep your rates where they are and just give them added value, that is the way I would recommend you should deal with it. And but I was in a situation 17 years ago where we had in Phuket, where we dropped some rate, and we realized it doesn't add people coming. People are not coming because of lower rates. They, in fact, let's say, becomes a guest complaint, because if you're giving a low rate and then you don't provide the same experience with the same amenities, then they are not getting the value that you promised them. So that's the thing. That's why I got a little bit smarter after 17 years. So I'm saying don't drop the rates. So that's my advice to you, Andrew. Yeah. So
yeah, it's so Sam-Erik, it's interesting that the one of the things that people have been criticizing of the government is that earlier, maybe like about a month ago, the government still denying that Corona is here, that people here are getting the virus. So they try to encourage people to travel more, which is very, very dangerous. And they encourage travel people, companies in the travel industry to drop their rates. So we get people traveling. Not everybody. It's very, very just a number of people. They actually went traveling. To different places in Indonesia because the rates were dropped. But again, that's something that's being frowned upon right now. Also, what's interesting is that in Bali launched a new campaign earlier this month. It's called the We Love Bali campaign, which I think it's like a reactionary campaign, because like especially the Chinese tourists, they're gone, and other tourists are not coming in, and they're just being reactionary, and in which they're trying to plan having special rates, special events, even some international DJ and things like that, which I think is just very Russian, ill-advised, and because that's not acknowledging the problem. I think they really, and it's called the We Love Bali campaign, and that's not good branding. That's like there's no base to it, and they're just trying to tell everybody everything's okay while it's not, and they're probably gonna scrap that very soon, and kind of rework it.
Yeah, well. We will always love Bali, regardless of what you do, Bali. But this campaign, I wonder was that a good idea or not? That's it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Yasha, I think this has been great that we could catch up after this time, and it's a good excuse to go live. And thanks very much for sharing your insight. And I think let's do another episode here sooner than later to catch up on other things, what's going on when we hopefully are over this scenario. So
yeah.
All right.
Let's hope it's over soon.
Okay, so I will close this episode now. So thanks very much for joining in, everyone, the live viewers and also the replay viewers. And finally, Andrew, thank you very much for your input. Sinaz in Cyprus, thank you very much for joining in. That's been really great. Appreciate it. So bye for now.